I'm, can you hear me? Yes. My name is Gregory Burke. I live in this lovely parish of ours, sometimes called St. Far. My question is a simple one. What effect does not having a budget have not only on this country, but on any country? Thank you. You missed it? I'm so sorry.
Effect of not having a budget.
What effect does not having a budget have not only on Barbados, but on any country?
There's an ongoing discussion about what is a budget and what is not. The estimates which we put together every year, which is a sit down, let me explain how it goes. Prime Minister, the Cabinet will decide, well, we can afford to have a deficit of 2.5% of GDP. In an $8 billion economy, that translates into $200 million roughly. Because 2.5% of 8 billion is $200 million. We can have a deficit of that amount in a given year. You then decide, well, hey, how much revenue would we collect based on the expected growth of the economy? The economy may grow by X%, imports may grow by Y, employment may do this, that, and therefore we estimate our revenue. Then in order to achieve the deficit that we feel is sustainable, we then set an expenditure program in place. Each and every ministry has a budget from previous, but they are then reined in to achieve the anticipated expenditure for the given year. That basically decides then what will happen is that Mayor will come to the Prime Minister when it was going up, and she will defend her ministries. And then she will take his chosen budget, and he will come and he has to defend every program, whatever he intends to spend. And that process continues and continues until there's some degree of satisfaction that we can attain the expenditure program that we need. The problem is that there is therefore a $200 million gap between what we expect in revenue and what we expect to spend. What we have traditionally called the budget, which you may call a financial statement, is then designed to determine how do we finance that gap of $200 million. If you have taken a decision that you do not intend to impose any new taxation as a means of finance, that you will borrow from local and domestic and foreign and domestic sources, then fundamentally some may say there is no need for a budget. But it is not that simple. Because the real issue is that notwithstanding that deficit which you will carry, you are intended as a government to help change the allocation of the scarce resources which we have to either encourage in any given year tourism to do more than manufacturing, or to do less than agriculture, or to do more in the offshore sector. So you still have to make a determination as a government as to what is your intended impact in terms of policy on the private sector and its ability to allocate. Now, or invest. You also have the households who for some reason may have been experiencing difficulty. And therefore it may be in your decision or your judgment that beyond taxation measures as we know them, you may however seek to influence the behavior of the household in either saving or spending or doing whatever you dare to do. It is therefore almost incumbent, but I feel this is where you want to go. In this environment, it is absolutely necessary for the government to have what you will describe as a budget, or what some may call a financial statement. It is absolutely necessary because we need to know where this economy is going, and by extension, where this society intends to go. It is simply called leadership. With me? And that is true of any other country in the world.
Yeah.
Right? So the budget, as you know it, is intended to make a determination about the allocation of the resources, scarce resources which we have, to either boost one sector or not boost a sector, or encourage the private sector to do Y, X, or Z, or assist the households in doing A, B, or C. Okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
My name is Michael Field. My question is to Professor Prasad. What is the latest on the Four Seasons project? How soon we can get started? And where we go from here with that?
I think accepting to rescue the Four Seasons project was the worst decision in my life. I've had a few bad ones before as well. But it has given me a tremendous insight into all the things we need to change. So, what happened was we found the financing, and the government in November 2009 said that they would give a government guarantee by the end of the year, December 2009. December 2009 came and went, and it wasn't until June 2010 that the government finally agreed to its guarantee. The banks, like good old Caribbean banks, were seeing the government take its time, so they thought, well, we can take our time too. So I was hoping people would be working in parallel, but after the government guarantee, the banks then got serious, and so it is not until the end of this week or early next week in which the loan agreement will be signed. Then we need to have two other agreements, a construction agreement, construction management, and an agreement with the existing villa owners. Those agreements are in our control as opposed to the government or banks, and so I expect those to happen quite quickly. But I think in all honesty, because the government took so long to deliver a guarantee, and the banks have not been especially quick, we're not going to get Barbadian workers through the door at Paradise until November of this year. And indeed, November would be an aggressive timetable. It would require everything else to go right. January. So, okay, January then, 2011. To me, the sad thing is, we could have had Barbadian workers going through the gates in January 2010. We could have had 60 million US dollars coming in through the international reserves of the country in a year in which our reserves are under pressure. We could have had renewed confidence by the real estate market with the major project on the West Coast returning, supporting the resumption of other projects and bringing in other money. And ultimately, those prizes are why the government gave a guarantee in the first place. But it's a sign of the things we need to change, because we need government not only to do the right thing, but to be able to do it in a good amount of time, and not a very long amount of time. Because as you know, in the business of commerce and finance, time costs money. And we were in real danger of the entire deal falling apart by the length of time it took. Indeed, I think the deal only survived because we never thought it would take so long. We always thought it was around the corner, and that kept people in the deal. But I can report that we now have the government guarantee under our belt, that the loan agreement is now under our belt. The other two agreements look to be finalizing, and so we will have people coming through those gates in a matter of weeks, a few months, and the project will resume.